Hello again, my friends. We are here to talk about SNAP again. I know you're tired of this, and I am too, but there are just endless updates rolling up, and we going to go over everything that happened over the weekend. I know it was a lot. I know some of you have received full benefits on your cards, which is awesome. A lot of states sent those out on Friday. And then on Saturday, there was new guidance, and it's just been back and forth ever since. But we're going to get through all of that, as well as what it means for you and what you can expect and different avenues of help and, all the usual things. So basically, I don't know. I'm not even going to summarize it. We're just going to dive into it because there's so much. So I know a lot of you have been asking why some people got benefits and maybe you didn't. And a lot of that comes down to where you are because at this point, everything seems to be in chaos at the federal level and states are just doing different things. We're going to cover what all the states are doing. And like I said, what went on over the weekend and everything. But let's just get into what's going on. So by now, I'm sure you've seen a million different headlines claiming a million different things. But I'm going to go back to where we left off on Friday and move forward from there so that hopefully we can iron out all of those questions and inconsistencies and confusion surrounding what's been going on. So last Friday, when we met and I was talking to you about what was going on, Judge McConnell in the Rhode Island case had ordered the government to issue full SNAP benefits for November, and that was awesome. But then the government immediately appealed. And the appeals court did not stop the order. They said that full SNAP should be released. So then the government went to the Supreme Court to intervene, and the Supreme Court paused the order for full benefits pending a decision from the appeals court. So that was Friday when they were saying, send the money, and then there were appeals. Meanwhile, on Friday, while all of that was working its way through the court system, the USDA issued a guidance memo to the states. And they sent this out and they said that they were working toward implementing full benefits for November and that they said that the funding would be available later that day so that the states could make those full payments. So a lot of states saw that, got excited, and started moving forward with those issuances because they knew that so many people need that help. So ABC News reports that at least 20 states began the process of issuing those full benefits, including Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Hawaii, Kansas, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Vermont, Washington, and Wisconsin all started the process on Friday of issuing those full benefits. Now, if you live in one of those states, you may have already received that funding. Some of the states, it does look like, tapped the brakes after things got crazy over the weekend. So that was Friday, right? And then on Saturday, the USDA issued another guidance memo. And this time, they said that states could not issue the full benefit until they received, quote, explicit direction from the USDA, or the Food and Nutrition Service at the USDA, rather, to send those benefits. That memo also really freaked out a lot of people because they said that any full SNAP payments that were issued by the state were unauthorized and that states, quote, must immediately undo any steps taken to issue full SNAP benefits for November of 2025, end quote. Which, I mean, that's just whiplash, right? It's crazy. And I know a lot of you have questions about what this means for you if you have received those benefits. And I promise you, we're going to circle back to that because there wasn't more news on this point, but I'm trying to go through it in order so that it makes more sense. So states were told in this memo on Saturday that there would be consequences if they didn't immediately stop issuing those full benefits and actually take the money back and instead issue the 35% reduction in max benefits instead. And there's all sorts of things in the rules that they cited that they could do to states as far as cutting back the federal portion of SNAP and making states more responsible for various costs, getting court orders, all sorts of nasty stuff that they could do if states didn't comply with that. Now then on Sunday, the First Circuit Court of Appeals issued a ruling in favor of sending full SNAP benefits for November. They basically said that the lower court got it right. They weren't going to get involved. It's a very interesting read, this appeals decision. I'm not a lawyer. I just geek out about court stuff. Just full disclosure for you. But I really enjoyed that read. They pointed out that the prior Trump administration had stated that contingency funds could be used to pay SNAP benefits during a shutdown. They pointed out that the USDA had not followed procedure in making partial payments from the contingency fund. And they basically said they needed to move forward and get that done. In fact, I really liked this quote. It says, USDA knew at the very latest by October 10th, the day it sent its first memorandum to the states, that normal appropriations would be unavailable to cover November benefits. It also knew full well that making partial payments would be technically difficult as it had never been done before. But it proceeded to do nothing to attempt to solve that problem over the following 3 weeks. It made no calculations, prepared no tables, and took no other logistical steps to prepare for a shortfall. End quote. That was part of that decision that the appeals court put out. Now, they said that they ruled this way, and I included this slide. I know this is a little bit technical, but I know we've had a lot of people in our live chat on our streams recently being like, oh, well, the courts can't, do this. It's just arguing why the courts were deciding these things, essentially. And so the appeals court kind of answered that. They said that the lawsuit was likely to succeed for 4 reasons, including the practical consequences of trying to make partial payments, a legal misunderstanding of authority, implausible reasoning for refusing to use the Section 32 fund, and the pretextual nature of that reasoning in light of shifting positions. So for anyone who had those questions, that's a very, legalistic answer as to why the court is weighing in on this. So that gets us through the weekend, right? So that gets us from Friday to Sunday. That's a lot to go through in just a couple of days as far as dramatic reversals in what's going on in this situation. But now let's talk about what happened today, because today's also been very, very busy. So it's headed for the Supreme Court now. The Trump administration said that it would return to the Supreme Court to try to stop the order. The court gave them until 4 p.m. Eastern today to file their paperwork. They did that. We're going to go over, I think, a little bit of that here in a minute. And then the plaintiffs, are the ones who are fighting for those full SNAP benefits, have until 8 a.m. tomorrow to respond. So I'm sure we're going to have more news about this tomorrow as well. Now, a decision is expected to happen here very quickly, but it's going to depend on if the government reopens before then, because if the government reopens, then they're saying all of this is irrelevant anyway. So, I thought this was an interesting quote at the New York Times. They said, Solicitor General D. John Sauer asserted that the lower courts had improperly injected themselves into the political branch's closing efforts to end this shutdown by ordering the administration to pay food benefits, and that these court orders had thrown a massively inappropriate new variable into negotiations. And the reason I included this is because I think it really illustrates the fact that all of this back and forth, all of this chaos, all of this uncertainty is a negotiating tactic to try to force the end of the shutdown. And that's really unfair to put you guys in the middle of that fight. Anyway, that really bothered me when I read that. I probably should have left it out, but here we are. Okay, so now I want to give you a little bit of good news as we wrap up here. So the case is still working its way through the Supreme Court. We're probably not going to know, at least until tomorrow, what's going to go on with that, because the plaintiffs have a while to respond. But if you have already received a partial payment and you're worried because the USDA is telling your state to take it away from you, those states went back to court in Massachusetts this morning to seek an emergency order to stop the USDA's guidance that states have to claw back that full SNAP benefit. And in their filing here, which was also a really interesting read, the states said, quote, in the span of less than a week, USDA has circulated multiple formal guidance documents, each inconsistent with the prior one, forcing the plaintiffs into a continual state of whiplash. And I don't know about you, but I find that really relatable. I feel like I've been in a constant state of whiplash as we've been trying to follow these updates and keep you guys updated, because it's just one thing and then the next. But Judge Talwani, in that case, did grant a temporary restraining order so that states do not have to take that full SNAP benefit away from you right now. So that was issued today. If you have those benefits, I mean, I can't give you any sort of legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, but I know just from Nicole as a person here, if I was in that situation and those benefits came through for my family, I would absolutely go shop for my family and get what I needed. If something happens and for some reason the Supreme Court decides against sending full SNAP and things change, the states are going to have to figure out how to recoup that money and deal with overpayments and things like that. And we've seen how overpayments work in the past. Usually they take a percentage of your future benefits to offset the debt or whatever. But that wouldn't even be on, like, I don't know. That doesn't seem likely to me that that would be the case. But again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a person who researches this stuff. And I'm just telling you what I would do in that situation personally. So, okay. Now, like I said, this whole SNAP shutdown fight in the courts is irrelevant if the government reopens. And that's really the thing they've been saying all along is they're fighting this, but if the government reopens, it's not an issue because that's what they're aiming for is getting the government reopened. So we are seeing signals today that the Senate is making progress on a bill that could reopen the government. The New York Times has quoted that they may be voting on it today. It looks like there's a couple of things they're going to be voting on today. Now, that's optimistic. That's hopeful. The House has promised lawmakers that they will give at least 36 hours notice before holding a vote, though. So even if something happens tonight, it's going to be probably Wednesday before the House votes and moves that thing forward. So just remember, nothing is certain until it happens, but this is an optimistic signal that hopefully things are going to start wrapping up here and we can get back to normal here soon, or at least what was normal. I do want to remind you guys, open enrollment season is like there's less than a month left of open enrollment if you're on Medicare. And as much as this whole SNAP showdown has been distracting and everything else is in chaos, Medicare is so important. If you have those benefits, those plans are changing rapidly. We've seen all sorts of providers cutting back on the different benefits that they offer, and what worked well for you last year may not be the best fit for you this year. And Chapter is amazing at helping people through that situation. We've been getting all sorts of amazing reviews from people who have been able to call in, get help, and they spend time explaining to you your options, going through everything. Really, really appreciate these guys over at Chapter. Now, before we wind up here, hang on. Did we not, where am I? I must have messed up the slide deck again because we had all sorts of information in here about those, like the GoPuff thing and the Propel money and the different grants and things. I can pull that up during the Q&A, I guess. While the shutdown is continuing, we're still offering our food bank cookbook for free. You can grab it at the link that you see over there. And then we also have this journal that we're offering from our other brand, Hope, which you can access. I should have changed that link. If you go to lirlinks.com/hope, it's a direct way to get to the form so that you don't miss it. But you can also go to hope.help. That's the main website for that brand. So with that in mind, I'm going to pull up those slides, I think, with the other offers. But why don't you start pulling up questions for me, Kaylee? Kaylee's here with us again today to help us with the Q&A portion, which is always very, very appreciated. Oh, Diana, thank you for that. That's wonderful. I appreciate the super chat, but I am even more happy that you got your Lasagna Love yesterday and that it's so big, and that it's going to be able to help you for a while. That's fantastic. I know a lot of you have been talking to us about Lasagna Love stepping up and being able to get you that assistance, and I love hearing those stories. That's fantastic. So, okay. I got my full amount on my SNAP card yesterday, pleasantly surprised. Yes, so a lot of states are sending that stuff out. In fact, if we want to really quick, I could jump over and show you, because I just updated this list of the state-by-state stuff. Do you want to pull that down so they can see my full screen? Oh, never mind, it went off. Okay. Oh, geez, I didn't have it set up to share. Hang on. I thought I was so prepared today, guys. Every time we do this, I learn something new about the technology I'm trying to use over here. Okay, let's dive in. So this is the post on our website where we are live tracking all of the changes to SNAP. And we are updating this post probably 8 times a day because things are just rolling out so quickly. So let's see what's going on here. So anything that's new, we're putting in red so that if you've been to this post before, you can quickly see what's changed. So we've updated the bit about the SNAP case here, different things like that, but on a state-by-state basis. We know Cherokee Nation is still doing its thing. And let's see, yeah, Alaska said that the remaining SNAP funds should be available this week. You guys can go ahead and read this. I'll actually just leave this on screen and like slowly scroll through it while we're talking. Maybe that's a good way to handle this so that you guys can get the information that you need. Does that work for a bit, you think? Do you got another question for me?
Someone said they're afraid to use their SNAP.
Yeah, I did see that. So a lot of you have told us prior to the chat when we were watching it on YouTube that you guys were afraid to use those SNAP benefits because of all of this confusion. And I can't blame you for that because, I mean, it's a scary and uncertain thing, right? When the USDA is threatening to take that back away. Now, they have achieved that stay, which means that they're not going to be taking it away right now. I think it's safe to use. I haven't seen anything saying otherwise. So I wouldn't, as a user, be afraid to use that. It's the states that were told that there would be consequences if they didn't start taking action to pull that off. Now, we know that Louisiana did put SNAP benefits on cards and then start taking it back at one point. So some people in Louisiana have lost benefits that they had previously, but so far it appears to just be isolated to that one state at this point in time. So hopefully that makes sense. What else do we got? Dried beef in a jar is available on Amazon. $15 for 1 jar, 4 jars for $24. That is great. That is awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. I'm going to go ahead and hop back over to the slides, I think, because we kind of slow scrolled through all of that state stuff. What's my comment deleted? I didn't know. States have issued food stamps after Yeah, so first of all, just to answer the why your comment was deleted, I don't know. I know we've enabled slow chat on our lives now so that we can kind of keep up on things better. So sometimes that can cause things to disappear or not be sent. And we do have different filter words and things that can cause issues as well. So I do apologize that your comment was caught by one of those things. As far as what's going on here, I wish I could explain it to you. I don't necessarily understand the mindset myself. I think the closest thing we have to an explanation on this is the quote that we read just a little bit ago from the Solicitor General, because basically this statement here is saying that they're trying to force an end to the shutdown, it looks like, by using this as some form of leverage, which just feels really gross to me, but that seems to be what's going on here. So, all right. This is absolutely, I mean, I agree with that one personally, but, okay. Amanda says, if you only get part of your benefits, are you going to get the rest of them when they finally do get this mess straight out? That's going to depend on how they reopen the government, but the theory is yes. Every indication that I've heard is that when the government reopens, they're going to issue full SNAP benefits. I haven't seen anything to the contrary. I do know, like right now, they're trying to force, what the administration wanted was states to undo the full amount and then send out the amount with a $35 reduction. But my understanding is that when the government reopens, the full amounts will be sent, although I haven't seen that like as an official thing yet. And it probably won't be officially confirmed until Congress passes a bill that says so. So hopefully that makes sense.
Martha Mendoza wants you to pop over to the other screen you had just a second ago.
Okay. Do you know what part on that page she wanted?
She said she was reading it.
Oh, sorry. I do apologize. So I can have Kaylee drop the link for this post in the chat as well so that you guys don't have to just sit here and read it off the screen. And that way you'll have it too, because we're updating this, like I said, multiple times a day as more news crosses the desk. So I'm not sure where you were at. Who did you say, Maria?
Martha window.
Martha. Yeah, so I don't know where you were on the page, Martha, and I don't want to mess you up, but we'll have Kaylee drop that link for you as well. Yes, and the 35% reduction is what I meant. I don't know what I said. But it's also important to note that that's a 35% reduction on the max benefit, which is a complicated calculation thing that we've been over in other discussions. Okay. Everyone looking to growing veggies in your home, hydroponic systems work well. Yes. And seeds and produce bearing plants are covered by SNAP benefits as well, as long as you're buying them from an approved SNAP retailer. So that's an important thing to keep in mind too. They even cover like fruit trees and stuff if you have a place to grow those. It's actually really cool. All right, have your online shopping carts full and be ready to click order as soon as your benefits load. Honestly, that's not bad advice. That's probably what I would do too. Along with that, Ibotta's got their 100% cash back offer for Thanksgiving as well. So if you're loading your cart and you're shopping at a place where you can get those benefits, that's a good way to get a little bit of extra food too, because then you get a refund on that part of your purchase. All right, what's this talk about people getting a $50 gift card from Propel? Yes. So I apologize. I had those slides in here and things just keep disappearing on me. Propel is an app where I'm trying to figure out how to get you this information the best. My brain is still stuck on trying to get the slides. Okay, yeah. So Propel is an app that lets you track your EBT balances, all sorts of different things with your benefits. They are doing a giveaway. Here, I can just pull it up on the screen really quick. There we go. Let me pull this over here for you. So this is on the Propel website. And when you come down here, they are putting $1 million into this emergency fund. And they're basically giving everyone, it says here, a $50 cash transfer is what it says. But it looks like it's going to be on what's called a give card. And you can either get like a prepaid physical card or a virtual card. They are starting with, let's see, yeah. They're starting with large families who receive the maximum benefit. So originally, they said if you had 3 or more people in your household and you got the max benefit, then you would be in this round. It looks like they've updated that language, so I'm not 100% sure if they're expanding things or what's going on there, but that's what that is about. Now, I wasn't sure if this would be available for new users or not, but we did have someone in the chat a couple of days ago tell us that they signed up for Propel and they were eligible. So if you aren't currently using Propel, you still may be able to get that assistance. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Okay. Let's see. What happens in December if the shutdown continues? It's a good question, Renegade Black Sheep. I don't know. That's probably going to be one of the things that the Supreme Court's going to be weighing in on, because this entire case that they've been battling out in the court is essentially over whether or not the government needs to use Section 32 funds to fund SNAP. The Section 32 fund has way more in it than the SNAP contingency fund did. And it has enough to carry SNAP for a couple of months. Not a long time, but a couple of months. But that, of course, comes out of the fund that's being used to fund WIC and school meals and all sorts of other things. Now, I did see a report that that fund has enough to carry the child nutrition programs through June. So if they did use it for a couple of months, there would still be funding in there. But I think that's why it's going before the Supreme Court, because if the shutdown doesn't resolve, they want to know what's going to happen in December. So I think that's going to all hinge on that decision. So far, both courts made a pretty convincing statement that it needed to be fully funded out of that fund. So I don't know. I'm hoping that it'll be okay, but we just won't know until we get there, I don't think. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sue. This is awesome. I really appreciate that you guys remind people to like and comment and share on the videos, because I never really say that, but it does definitely help our channel, and I really appreciate that. Okay, since they got funding until January 31, I haven't seen anything indicating that they have funding until then. That's going to depend on whether or not the government actually reopens, and they've made progress on that, but nothing is a done deal yet. The last update that I can see here on my news ticker is that it looks like they are scheduling votes this evening in the Senate, And then that would need to go, before the House and so on to finish out that process. There isn't funding until January 31st at this point. So, isn't the 4.65 billion gone by now, yet states still trying to solve? Yeah. So basically, Sharon, what's going on is there's two funds at issue here. And in the initial ruling from the court in Rhode Island, they were talking about doing a partial fund out of that 4.65 billion or a full fund out of that amount and the Section 32 funds. And so this entire court case is about the use of those Section 32 contingency funds to provide SNAP benefits and whether or not that's something that's legally required for the administration to do. So they did say that they are going to fully drain that $4.65 billion contingency fund for that partial amount they're sending out, and the administration didn't seem to have a problem with that. That's still the current advice that the USDA is giving the states, is to follow through on calculating and sending out those benefits. The issue is just that other bigger fund and whether or not they're willing to dip into it. Okay. Can you get food from a food bank if you are homeless? Yes. In fact, there are some food banks and services that are only available to people who are homeless. You most absolutely, definitely can do that. You will want to probably call 211 in your area to find the resources that are near you. Or if you connect with a shelter or other service like that, they should also be able to point you in the right direction of an organization that can help. All right, is Propel available in New Jersey? Would you know? I'm pretty sure Propel works nationwide last time I checked. Let's see. See if I can grab that for you really quick. Actually, maybe Kaylee can look for that really quick. Would you mind? The Propel app and if it works in all states or not. Can you highlight a question for me before you go searching? Okay, then. Thank you, Elizabeth. I really appreciate that. Welcome to the community. We really appreciate when you guys join the memberships. Of course, we never expect it. We do have them priced as low as $1, but we don't expect you to do that. Oh dear, it says that my connection is gone. Are you having internet trouble on your side? Because I think I'm getting some warnings over here that the internet's having...
It's behind.
Okay.
Like quite a bit,
All right, that's fine. Hopefully that didn't just glitch out. I got a warning about my internet connection there a second ago. Let's see. Are the available benefits on the SNAP card considered already spent? So that is money that the state's already spent, yes. As far as if it's available to you, then they don't think that you have spent that. And it should, I would go use it personally. They have that ruling that came out of Massachusetts today did say that they're not going to claw it back right now. So that at least is hopeful. Okay. Paula says the shutdown is not continuing. They have voted to go back to work. Why do you think they're still shut down? I have multiple live news tickers open just off screen. You guys can't see them here, but I am watching in real time. And the Senate did vote to move forward with the package, but they didn't give it their final authorization yet. As far as any of my sources are reporting, it says that they're going to be voting on it this evening. So unless for some reason my internet is so far behind that it's not showing me that, which is very unlikely, then they are moving in that direction, but they haven't finalized it yet. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. How do you apply for Propel? Is it random? So, Nay, you need to use the Propel app, have it linked to your EBT account, and then they are selecting, last I saw it was households of 3 or more who get the max benefit, but they are also still fundraising. So I'm not sure if they're going to expand that criteria or not, but that would be how you would go about getting it. Okay, as far as I'm seeing a lot of comments recommending other channels, and I'm not going to pull those up in the chat at this time. We've had a pretty big influx in the last couple of weeks of different people recommending different channels, but if I haven't had the chance to vet them myself, I don't want to put anything up here that could potentially be harmful. I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying that I know everything that went into my slide deck was something that I researched myself and I can be confident in, and I don't want to I don't want to endorse something without having the chance to review it first, if that makes sense. So
that's what you just said.
okay. Oh, thank you, Amanda. That's awesome. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Okay, let's see. Daniel says, if you get cash on your EBT, can it be used now? Yes. So the EBT cash program is completely separate than the SNAP program. The cash usually comes from TANF or other programs, and they have totally different funding sources. So if you are getting cash on your EBT, you should be able to use it just fine. So can you use the Propel card at Walmart? So that would be the Give Directly card, and it's basically a prepaid debit card. So yeah, you should be able to use that at Walmart if you are selected for it. I want to highlight this really quick from Bobby. Sorry, Kayla, I just kind of argued with you for a second. I apologize. Bobby says the pantries in my area, you have to give proof of income, proof of residency, etc. I don't understand why homeless don't have either. So that's really frustrating. Usually, even if they require that kind of documentation, there is some kind of workaround if you are homeless. Also, I wonder, we just today put out a video on our secondary channel, Fast Facts by Low Income Relief, talking about how to get a free mailing address, even if you're homeless. So if that is a barrier for you, I would recommend that you go check out that other video. Maybe, I don't know if Stephanie's on here, but maybe one of you could drop a link to that video really quick. Did you have something you needed to tell me real fast?
Something, these two comments are in tandem and I like it.
Okay, well, give me a second. Sorry. But yeah, we have that other video out on the Fast Facts channel about how to get an address, and that could probably help with the proof of residency issue. As far as proof of income, if you have bank statements, sometimes they'll take those. That's a hard one, but usually they'll have some sort of workaround if you don't have an income, but you'd have to call and talk to them.
Yeah, these two.
So, okay, so we got, oh my gosh, gifted memberships are amazing. Oh, that makes me so happy. Thank you for doing that. I forgot we could do that. That's awesome. Thank you. That's very generous of you. Oh man, I meant to have a system set up for that and I totally forgot.
This is true.
All right, Maeve says Medicaid is at risk. So we went over Medicaid, I think a little bit over a week ago with all the different things that are going on there. And there is definitely some stuff going on with Medicaid. There's stuff going on with everything right now and it's so frustrating. I'd encourage you to go check out that Medicaid video that we just did recently. We will do another one here soon. I know everyone is stressed about SNAP right now, and we're trying to make sure that we're keeping that updated as quickly as we possibly can. But I don't want you guys to miss out on what's going on with the other programs too. So, all right. Yeah. Let's see. Could anyone who is eligible who didn't get yet be left with not getting any? I'm assuming you're talking about SNAP, Sharon. So what's going on right now is the USDA is basically saying they're only going to give states enough to cover that partial benefit. So your state should still get their portion of that partial benefit. And the minimum table, let me see if I can pull that up really quick. Is it right here? Let me see. Nope, not there. Okay. Is it right here? There's so many memos coming out of USDA right now. It is hard to find the right one, but I'm going to see if I can pull up that table for you so you can see what the minimums look like. I'm pretty sure they increased it so that it was now $16 was the least anyone was going to get under the recalculation. But, so this is the most recent thing that they issued. I'll make that a little bit bigger for you guys. And yeah, so the minimum that people would get under the cutback is $16, which I realize is not a lot. And that's crazy frustrating. So if you haven't gotten it yet, you should be getting at least $16. And then hopefully if the Supreme Court makes its decision quickly, and hopefully if they rule in favor of issuing full benefits, then you'll just get that amount and you'll get it soon. You can't tell me, hold on, you're supposed to be helping me get questions on here. Do you accept a visa? I don't know. That's all managed by YouTube. I wish I could give you a definite answer. YouTube is the one that manages all of that. So that would depend on their policies. That's something we can definitely look into. Because that's something that we should know. And I don't think I knew that. Oh, here, Maeve says you can use a debit card, so that's cool. I appreciate that, guys. Oh my goodness, Grateful Cat Mama. I'm so glad that you caught us live. That's awesome. And that is really our goal, is to let you know that you're not alone going through this. I know it can feel super isolating, especially when things are going back and forth and it feels like you're the only one caught in the chaos. But you are most definitely not alone. And we are glad that you're here and that you're a part of our community and that you caught us live, because that's awesome. I love being live here and chatting with you guys. I realize I'm probably not the best at it, but I do love being here and answering your guys' questions. Okay, in California, if you're homeless, they'll let you use the Social Security office address as your home address, but you can only receive Social Security or DMV mail there. That is awesome, Anxiety Sauce. Thank you for sharing that with us. I know there's a lot of different options for addresses. You can do general delivery at the post office, and there's just all sorts of different things. That's why we did a different video on it. I probably shouldn't go through the whole list, but there's a lot of really cool organizations that will let you use their address if you need that kind of support. It never hurts to ask, right? Okay. All right, Kaylee, you're getting questions about the link for the cookbook, by the way. Oh my goodness, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that. That's wonderful. I never expect you guys to do that, just so you know. But I do appreciate that. Let's see. Alrighty. Do you have anything? Kaylee's over here doing 7 different things all at once, trying to make sure we're getting those links in there and everything else. So,
I didn't even know 10 minutes ago.
awesome. Okay, let's see. All right. I know a lot of you are talking about what's going on in different areas, and that's why we have the list on our website, because it's just there's so much changing so fast. But so that all of those state specific questions, I'm going to refer you to the website, and Kaylee can drop that link as well. Yeah. Janet says that's shameful, $16. What can you even do with that? So here is what I would do with that. Okay? Just this is just my, like, personally what I would do. So if I got the $16, the first thing I would do is download the Ibotta app. And if you're a new user, you can get the turkey and all the sides and everything for Thanksgiving on a 100% cashback offer. And I would do that, because then you're going to be able to essentially double those benefits, because you'll buy it, but then you'll get cash back, and that will help you get more. Alternatively, going to some sort of double up program, because there are double up programs that are still operational that will give you more. That could make it $32, which would be still not great, but better than $16. Another thing to look for is, if you haven't already watched our video on all of the freebies and deals and things that we found for this month, I would go check that out, because there are farmers markets that are giving out free vouchers for veterans and things. There are double up programs that are running. There are other opportunities for free meals this month, either on Thanksgiving or on Veterans Day or whatever. And I would try to gather all of those resources first. And I would definitely go to any food banks in my area, see what I could get before I spent the $16 as well, just so that you're spending it as effectively as possible. Now, I realize that that is a lot of work, and it's not easy, and it may not even be super applicable to your situation, but personally, that's what I would choose to do is, food banks, double up, Ibotta, trying to find any possible way to stretch that, because it's not nearly enough. So, yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. Propel is an app that helps people track EBT balances, things like that. It used to be called Providers. Before that, I think it was called Fresh EBT. They've been around for a while, but they go through these rebrands periodically. One thing that we do know about their organization is we've been following them for a while, and during points of extreme hardship, like this shutdown and COVID and things like that, they have worked with Give Directly, which is an organization that helps facilitate like guaranteed income programs and things. And they work with them, and then they distribute money to their users that are going through a hard time. So if I still had UT benefits, I would have Propel, just because it's going to open up opportunities that may not be available to you if you don't have it. But that's just my opinion. Let's see. Here, I helped you. I blocked a troll.
I just blocked that one.
Oh, yeah, now I have an error because I did your job for you. I
Now
apologize.
you have an error because I already blocked it.
That's what I'm saying. That's me trying to be helpful and ruining your perfectly, organized system over
Is it
there.
even on your mouse?
Sorry. It's super fun having my daughter in the office with me when I do these. It's very, very helpful. And I think it's probably helpful for you guys too, because she's able to drop those links and different things in there. Okay. Let's see. Sharon says, how could you get the $16 if the money was all used up by other states by the time it came your turn? That's not how it works. The USDA is going to send the amount of money that each state is entitled to. And the states that used up, that sent the full SNAP benefits are either going to have to cover that difference themselves or wait until the USDA sends the remainder. So that's not something that you really need to worry about because that's not the way SNAP is distributed. The federal government figures out how much each state needs or should get based on the reduction and then sends that out that way. So some state that's doing more isn't going to cut into what you would be getting. So, oh, thank you, Scott. That's really sweet of you. I appreciate that. Welcome to the community. I hope you like it. There's a lot of good stuff in our community. Stephanie puts a lot of work into making sure there's a lot of high value stuff in there. It's really cool. Let's see. Okay, Elizabeth says, North Carolina is giving $25 to $50 free at the farmer's market. So that's pretty cool that they're doing that. I appreciate that. I'm sorry that you had that bad experience with it though, Elizabeth, but thank you for sharing that that's something that's going on. Lydia says, can you explain more about double up programs or apps? Yes. I love these things. So double up is one of many different, what they call nutrition incentive programs. And these are programs that get USDA funding to try to get people to make healthier choices. So most states have these. And what happens is if you shop at a retailer or a farmer's market or a store or a farm stand or a community supported agriculture like farm, and they're participating in double up, then you can go and spend $20 but take home $40 in produce, for example. Each state runs them a little differently. Some states you get a coupon for your next visit. So maybe you go to the grocery store if they participate, you buy a certain amount of eligible items, and then you get a coupon for that much off your next visit. But essentially it gives you twice as much food as you pay for. It's generally limited to produce, so fruits, vegetables, sometimes herbs, sometimes honey, sometimes mushrooms, depending on how your state is doing it. But it's supposed to be for locally grown produce, basically. And it is a great way to get more out of your benefits. We have a list of those. Kaylee, if you want to type this up, it's at lowincomerelief.com/double-up. You can look it up on the website too, but you have to be careful because we have one for all 50 states and you need to get the one that's for the whole country so that it's relevant to everybody. So if you go to lowincomerelief.com and then you just go /double-up, it should bring you to the right list. She's still learning how to navigate the website. This is only your second week on the job? You're doing great. And then,
It says it doesn't exist.
okay, that's different. Let me see if I can grab it then. See, I have so many tabs open over here. Let's see. We'll see if that works. Yeah, there we go. I got it. Here's the double up. I'm not going to type anything fancy there. Okay, the lasagna thing. Yes. Okay, so Lasagna Love is an organization that helps deliver fresh homemade lasagnas to people who are going through a hard time. They're really cool because they don't have any sort of like income guidelines. You don't have to prove anything. You just go to their website, you fill out a form, and a volunteer in your area will contact you. They'll make you a lasagna and drop it off. It is a phenomenal program. It started during COVID and it's just expanded into a lot of different places since then. I can't say everywhere, but in a lot of different areas, this is something that's available. And you just need to go to lasagnalove.org, fill out the little form, and then someone will contact you. So what you get varies because, I mean, these are just people who are volunteering and they're paying for it themselves. So sometimes people may bring other things to you. A lot of times it's just going to be a pan of lasagna. But even still, that is a huge, huge blessing. So That's the lasagna thing. Let's see. Oh, no. Karen says, unfortunately, the Michigan benefits that were pending have been canceled. Had it pending yesterday. Now the pending payment is gone. Yeah. So there's been just so much confusion for the states, right? They got excited. They thought they were going to be able to get it done. And then the USDA came back and threatened all of this stuff if they didn't undo that. So I am so sorry that that happened to you. That's really hard to have that much hope put in front of you and then have it taken away. That's awful. That's just so sad. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Somebody wants to fire me and bring Kaylee on here. Okay, that's cool. Thanks for that. That is funny. I thought you would enjoy that, which is why I clicked on it. I was pretty sure you probably weren't going to click on it, but I have no doubt that Kaylee will eventually inherit low-income relief. So someday. She is definitely the most interested of all of my children in helping with this. So let's see. You got anything else? I was going to say something super sarcastic, but I can't follow up that comment with that. She's giggling over here. She found that very flattering. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Amy says with the rebate apps, most have a cash out minimum. If you redeem for just the turkey on Ibotta, your money will be tied up until you hit $20. So if you are a new user, you usually get like a new user bonus as well, which should help push you over that minimum, but that is definitely something to be aware of. I hadn't considered that, so I appreciate you pointing that out, Amy. That's a solid point. Let's see. Yes. So this is a great tip as well. Veterans Day is tomorrow, and there is all sorts of different stuff going on for that. Let me see if I can grab that list for you really quick that we had put together, since it didn't seem to download in my slides. What? Okay. No? Okay. So many technical issues over here over the last few weeks. It's just been crazy. Let's see. Okay. I've never tried to switch this while I'm live, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah, Catherine, I agree with you here. I dislike that everyone just assumes that laziness is an issue as well. I know when my family was receiving SNAP, we were working. We still needed help. So many, like a huge percentage of people on SNAP are either elderly, disabled, or they have kids and they're working, and people just assume the worst. And social media right now is not doing the SNAP program any favors. I have seen so many just absolute clickbait videos of people saying that they get astronomical amounts of SNAP and wasting it, and it's become a trend, and that's really frustrating because it's kind of aggravating people. They call it rage bait, making people more and more angry and causing more and more division, and it's just very, very upset, or causing more upset. Oh, this is wonderful, Nay. Lasagna Love is bringing salad and brownies Friday for my family and me. I'm so glad. That is wonderful. I'm so glad you were able to get that help. So I see another comment here, and I don't want to highlight it, but I am going to address it. I'll get to the one you highlighted in just a second. Okay, see, I am going to ask you to stop highlighting the government opening back up ones. None of the tickers I'm following are saying that the government has opened back up yet. I know they are making progress on that, but yeah, Senate begins voting on plan to reopen the government, but they've even said that the House won't be back in session until Wednesday because they promised that 36-hour lead time on votes. So I am looking at current news, and it is not reopened. Yeah. They're expecting the Senate to make a final vote this evening, but as far as I can tell, they've voted to begin the debate, but I'm not seeing that they have actually voted it through the Senate, and then it would still need to go through the House and all sorts of other stuff. So that is not actually the case. I know it's really hard to track these updates, guys, believe me. It's hard to know what's true. Every time I log into YouTube to do anything right now, I see fake live streams at the top of my feed. And they are usually saying that votes are being held on things when they're not, all sorts of different stuff. You have to be so careful with what you're trusting out there because the systems that run our government are complicated and they're nuanced, and it's hard to get the full picture a lot of times. And then there's people who just don't care about giving you the truth because they just want the money from your views and from your watch time. And that's really frustrating. So I understand completely why so many of you in the chat think that like this is over and we're past it, because I've seen a lot of those headlines myself, but they don't hold up to scrutiny against the sources that I know are accurate, which is why I'm trying to clarify as we go, because I know it's really hard to track all of that and to keep tabs on like what the most recent update is. We are definitely seeing progress toward the end of the shutdown, but it does not look like it has been finalized yet as of the time I am recording this. I know if I don't specify that in like 2 days' time, people are probably going to be watching this and then eviscerating me in the comments. So in the interest of full disclosure, as you can see in the ticker at the bottom of the screen, all of the information that we are sharing is accurate as of this recording, which is happening on November 10th. I know YouTube shows things in not necessarily a chronological order, so it's entirely possible people will be watching this later after it's open. So, all right, that was a long ramble. I apologize. Let's jump in back to the comments. Okay.
Somebody said this morning, you know, like to highlight it.
Well, can I answer the? Yes, you are absolutely right. Those SNAP spending sprees are absolutely rage bait. And I have seen so many of them lately. Like they've always been around a little bit, but just in the last couple of weeks, there's just exploded. And I feel like I'm constantly reminding people that nobody's getting $4,000 to $5,000 a month in food stamps. That vastly exceeds the maximum rate tables. It's just absolutely not a thing. Where are you going to find accurate updates for food stamps? So many places, as it were. So I do a lot of my research, first of all, on the USDA website. Here, let me show you. I've got some of my research up here, not all of it. But if I get rid of this banner at the top of the screen, let me see if I can get rid of that overlay. Okay, there we go. So you can see here we are on, this is where the USDA uploads all of its guidance. So I trust that. This information is coming straight from the USDA website itself. These are the memos that they issued. This one's on the 8th, this one's on the 7th, and this is coming straight from USDA. And then whenever they say something a little bit tricky, for example, over here, they're like, per this nonsense. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know how to read and I research stuff. So I came over here and I looked at what that meant down here. And this is ECFR, so this is where all the Code of Federal Regulations stuff lives. Yeah, and then this is a copy of the court paperwork that's coming out. And I usually find these links either by following court websites or by following highly authoritative news sources that link to the original sources. I don't like to rely on what other reporters are saying it says. I am not a lawyer, but I like to read it myself and make sure that it sounds like they're right before I repeat it, because I have found mistakes before. When you look at our website and you see these blue links on our website, those will take you to the sources where I'm finding that information. And more often than not, you're going to find that it's going to lead to like a .gov website where the actual, government of that state is publishing things. But I like to make sure that you guys can see my original sources, which is why I include the links here. Or if I'm talking in a slide presentation, you'll see, let me see if I can jump back here. Like I'll show you the screenshot in this corner right here of the page I was looking at when I determined that information. So like I said, ABC News there, but here's another screenshot, things like that. I have done this for a very, very long time. And it's getting harder and harder to find trustworthy resources. But that's kind of where I start, is by looking at the .gov sites, looking at the court paperwork, following the highly authoritative news sources, cross-checking what all of them are saying, making sure that it mostly agrees and sounds right, and then reading it for myself. And yeah, it takes lots of hours. But that's the sort of thing I used to geek out about when I was in school, right? Was writing the big long essays and doing all of the research and stuff. So that's how I ended up doing this. So hopefully that makes sense. I do appreciate that. Okay. Did you already block Tom's space?
Yes.
Thank
That
you.
was written down in here.
You are
But I
so
don't
on
think
it. I appreciate that. It always drives me crazy when people get in the comments and talk about my face as if that's a justification to not fund food stamps. I haven't received EBT in over 15 years, so nobody should be judging SNAP users off of my weight. That's ridiculous. Um, and that's another soapbox I could stand on for a while, but we will move on. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, Penny Giller, your comment made me laugh, but I'm not going to click on it. But I really appreciate what you said there because that made me laugh. Okay. Oh my word. Robert says, I'm in Colorado. I normally get $292 in SNAP. On Friday, I received $6. Wow. I'm hoping that's a typo, and I'm hoping you meant $16 because that's supposed to be the minimum. But I think this is a good example of kind of what I was talking about it being a more complicated computational change than a lot of news outlets are letting on. I talked about that a couple of slides ago. They're reducing the max benefit by 35% in their partial calculation. And that's going to probably cut most people by more than 35% because of the way it cascades through the calculation. But that's a huge, big conversation. You can check out our previous videos for like an example of what that means. But I'm so sorry, Robert. That is terrible. And I know that's just got to be so stressful. And I'm so sorry that you're going through that. I am really hoping that the Supreme Court's going to come through for us and get that full SNAP benefit issued, or that they'll just reopen the government and get it done, because this is not okay that people are not getting what they need. It's so frustrating. Okay, let's see. Sorry, reading over the chat again. Did you have one for me, sis? She's got so many tabs open over there. Her computer looks just like mine. Okay. This is also true. Wanda's making a really good point here. Many people on SNAP are heavy because eating healthy food is expensive. And you're not wrong. It's not wrong at all. That is extremely true. And it's really frustrating. Also, a lot of people on SNAP are elderly or disabled or working with children. And I've noticed just in my own life, I gain more weight when I'm stressed. This whole situation is immensely stressful. Life is stressful when you're living with a low income and you have no idea how you're going to pay your next bill or your rent, and you're constantly like one breath away from financial disaster. That is when I gained all my weight. Like, I know that story because I lived it, and it's horrible and it's awful. And I would never wish that on anybody, but people don't seem to understand, like, the world is not so simple that one factor is, like, it's so complicated, right? Especially things like weight and eating healthy and all of that. It's such a multifaceted thing. Okay, I think we tackled this one a little bit earlier. This question looks familiar to me, but yes, I know I talked about Double Up, but let's talk about apps. Thank you for interrupting me on a ramble. I appreciate that, because like, oh, you're fine, darling. You're doing good. Okay, so apps are great. There are all sorts of apps that I recommend people use with SNAP. So Ibotta is one of them, because you can get cash back on your EBT purchases, and that's super, super helpful at extending the effectiveness of those benefits. Propel is pretty good. They're good at helping you track your balance. I believe I read that you can even like freeze your card and stuff from in there. Most states have an official like EBT Edge app that definitely can, well, as long as your state has implemented it, can help you freeze your benefits between uses or turn off out-of-state transactions, both of which are very helpful at maintaining the security of your account. Let's see, what are the other apps I usually recommend? I can't remember the other ones right now. That's not good. I will have to circle back to that. Usually I have like a whole list of things that I recommend, and those are the only ones that came to mind right now. So we'll come back and do another video on that probably. We are coming up on the 1 hour mark, and I promised Kaylee that we would try to keep these closer to an hour instead of 2, so we may wrap up here soon. I am on disability and I get food stamps. Do I need to get a work waiver? If you are on disability, that should be all the waiver you need. The work requirements are supposed to apply to what they call able-bodied adults without dependents. So if you have disability, you should be fine. You're going to want to make sure that you keep up on any paperwork you receive. Don't just assume that because you're on disability, you're fine. If they send you a letter or they start talking to you about those requirements, be prepared to show them your disability documentation, and don't be afraid to advocate for yourself, right? We've seen issues in other programs where people get removed when they shouldn't be, and sometimes you have to appeal or try to speak to a supervisor or follow up with more documentation, but you are always your best advocate. So make sure you're paying attention to the mail that you receive and that you're responding to it. Don't miss any deadlines, and just make sure you have proof of that disability ready to go if you need it. So, all right. Let's see. Okay. All right. Clarifying really quickly here. I never said that people stealing food was rage bait. I said that I've seen videos of people, fake videos of people allegedly crying because they're not getting like $5,000 to $10,000 worth of SNAP benefits, and that isn't true. Nobody's getting that much. That's the rage bait that I'm talking about. And there are fake videos of people stealing food as well, and I would classify any fake video as rage bait. But I would also never minimize the impact of real theft either. So just to be clear. All right. Let's see. How are we doing over there? Wow, your troll list gets bigger every day. My goodness.
I've got 12 of them.
12 of them. Wow. All right. Well, I'm glad you're in here helping out. Okay. Let's see. Dawn says, what states are getting 100%? So at this point, I think any state that was issuing 100% has already done it. We have the list on our website. With what the USDA said and the waiver that they got, I'm not sure if more states will be sending that. But we will be updating the list on our website with any more information that we find on that. So, okay. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. So many of you are talking about not getting it or getting it retracted or just not having what you need. And I wish there was more that we could do over here.
Yeah, that's coming up.
Hey, I'm going to answer that in just a second. Before I do that, I wanted to say something else. So over the weekend, I don't remember what day it was, somebody mentioned that they didn't see me do a lot of giveaways. And that's true. We've experimented with that in the past, and generally it hasn't really worked out very well. I am considering doing some form of a giveaway this week. I just need to figure out the technical details and the rules about how that would work. But I am going to see if there's more that we can do to help you guys. I can't promise anything yet. There's a lot we have to consider, but definitely stay tuned. And hopefully a little bit later this week, we'll be able to roll something out so that we can offer some more assistance. Okay, Scott says, if you are disabled but not on SSI or SSDI, you can still get SNAP if you get a letter from your doctor. This is true. This is very true. If you get a letter from your doctor, you can still get it even if you don't get those benefits. Now, if you meet the income qualifications for SNAP and you have a letter from your doctor, I would recommend that you at least try for SSI. Personally, because why not? But also, I was going to say also, yeah. So the letter is going to need to explain like what's the cause of your limitations and what your limitations are as they pertain to your ability to work. Generally, is what they're going to want to see in that kind of a letter. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness, Lynn, thank you. That is so sweet. That I am so glad that we are able to help you, and I really appreciate that. You're wonderful. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness, you guys. Thank you so much for gifting a membership. That is a wonderful and very generous thing for you to do. I really appreciate that, and I'm so excited for whoever gets that. There's a lot of good stuff in there, so thank you. Oh my goodness, you guys are the best. Seriously. Let's see. Oh my gosh! You guys, you don't have to be doing all of that. I worry about you guys. I don't want you guys to be hurting your own budgets to help our channel. But thank you. Also, You guys are awesome. All right. No says, I was told to do interim report for SNAP this week or it will be canceled, and that forms were sent to me, but I still haven't received them. Ay, ay, ay. That is a stressful situation for sure. Okay. The first question I would have is, does your state have an online portal where you could possibly log in and look at the letters they've sent you or anything like that? Because the fastest way to get that answer is probably to get into some sort of online portal and see what your options are. The next thing I would think is go to the state website and see if you can find the form and download it and do it that way. Maybe you can call in and get them to resend that. Those deadlines you don't want to play with. But if you didn't get the form, that's a significant problem. So I would either call or go into the office, look on the online website, see what you can do to try to get that information, and then send them a letter in writing or an email in writing and tell them that you did not get the forms, because you should be able to get an extension if that's the case, because that's not your fault, right? And then if something goes wrong and they try to remove you, absolutely appeal that and make a point of pointing out that you didn't receive the forms you needed in a timely fashion. That's not on you, right? But you're gonna need to fight for that, because that's a difficult situation to be in. So, alrighty. Thank you, Nicole, for everything you do. May I ask if I got my SNAP benefit? Yeah. So, I'm smiling because this is such a delicate question, and I don't want to say anything that would be wrong. So I'm thinking about how to respond to this. So we do know that the states went and got that stay that said that the USDA couldn't take it back right now. Now, I wasn't able to find an original copy of that order. I don't think it had been published yet because it was still very new at the time that I discovered that it was a thing. So I'm not entirely sure, but I would assume that that's going to last until the Supreme Court makes some kind of decision here. Now, you thought I was done, didn't you, Kaylee? Here's the thing, right? If it was me and I needed those benefits to feed my family, I would absolutely go take that card and buy what I needed. They have a stay. The USDA isn't going to be taking that money back right now. The state is the one that decided to send that money before the USDA fully approved it. And the state is going to have to figure things out with the USDA. A lot of the governors of the states that were ordered to take the money back flat out said that they weren't going to do it. So I assume that there is some sort of workaround in play here. There's enough, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but there's enough of this back and forth confusion nonsense that I think they've got a pretty good case for saying that they did what they thought was they were supposed to do, right? But that'll be a thing that'll have to work its way through the courts. But as somebody at risk of not having food in November, I would say go spend it. But that's my personality, right? And that's the choice I would make for my family in that situation. So definitely not any form of legal advice, just what Nicole would do if I was in that situation. So. All right, Gwendolyn says, what is considered proof of disability? My SSDI letter? Your SSDI letter will absolutely work. If you have proved your disability to the Social Security Administration, you should be good to go and you should not have any issues. If you don't have SSDI, but you can get SSI, that should work as well. If you don't have SSDI or SSI, then a letter from your doctor may work, but in my experience, it's kind of hard to get doctors to write letters the right way, so you kind of got to ask them to put all the necessary stuff in there, but even that can work in a pinch. So, let's see. I saw somebody. Oh, okay. Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie's definitely here with us today because she just popped something into my chat. Wanda suggested that if we switch to subscribers only mode in the chat that we could eliminate a lot of the trolls. I would be interested in knowing how you guys would feel about that. I haven't done that because our philosophy, well, at least my philosophy has always been that we want to be able to help as many people as we possibly can, right? And a lot of times when we go live and we stream for the first time, we get a whole bunch of people who haven't heard about our channel before or anything. I also don't want to tempt any of the trolls to subscribe to our channel because that could create other issues.
I know people sometimes, I
Um,
think it's better to get the
but I,
information.
I will take that under advisement, and I'd be interested in hearing what you guys have to say as well. I know we also have the chance to limit it to members only, but that would hurt me inside to do that because I know there's a financial cost to that, and I don't think that would be a good choice. Because I never want you guys to have to pay to get help. I think that's not what we're here to do. So we're always interested in entertaining any ideas you have for keeping the trolls in check. I don't want you guys to have to deal with that in the chat or in our comments ever. You guys deserve to have love and support and caring and not have to deal with the random of opinions of people who have no idea what it's like to walk in your shoes. So, yeah, anyway. Let's see. Yeah, there's. It just bothers me that people are so bored and unhappy in their own lives that they have to go troll on videos that way. It just drives me crazy. Yeah, Dana says it's not fair that some states get their SNAP while others get nothing. Yeah. There's all sorts of things that vary on the state level, even within the SNAP program. Like the restaurant meals program, for example, is a part of the food stamps law that lets people who are elderly or disabled or homeless buy hot meals with their SNAP card. And only 7 states have chosen to enable that. And it's not available in most places. But there's all sorts of little things that go on a state by state basis. In this case, I know a lot of states just straight up announced that they were going to wait until like the final guidance. And I think those are the states that couldn't afford to back it if it went badly, you know? Because each state has its own finances to deal with. Some states have more money coming in than others. But I know that that's so frustrating to watch other people get what you need so badly and then not be able to get that yourself. That's terrible. So I am sorry about that, Dana. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wanda says, I wouldn't trust any federal government website right now, especially after the USDA removed information. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I always take it with some skepticism. I don't know what else to do necessarily. It's the most official source out there. It's where everybody else is getting their news from, and I'd rather read it straight from their press release than from some reporter who copied it from another reporter who spit it out through AI or something, you know? So I'm going to continue to look at the USDA websites, but I always cross-check and verify, and I try to be really upfront with you guys if something's not 100% and I'm not sure about it, or if it's, you know, conflicting or whatever. We live in a very, very confusing time, and it is frightening how difficult it is becoming to find truth. We'll keep doing our best over here. But yeah, I mean, seeing information removed from sites, seeing very partisan statements made on official sites too, those are factors that erode trust, and I totally understand that. Yeah. All right. You got anything? Oh, shalom. Thank you, Sherry. I'm glad you're here. You guys are awesome. Okay. Yeah, Wanda, I would spend any SNAP money that goes on the card as well. Things are so out of control right now and so unpredictable that, I mean, that's absolutely what I would do. Let's see. Yeah, Fabiana, that's the thing. I never want to make our comments like membership only or anything like that. So the way the memberships work, that is an entirely voluntary thing. I do not expect any of you ever to sign up for it. It was something that was strongly recommended to me multiple times by people who wanted to support the channel. So we created it. But I've always kind of struggled with that because I never want there to be a paywall. So know that if we roll out a members only video, that information is going to be available on our website. We're not trying to undercut the people who do contribute to the memberships. We just want to make sure that people who can't afford it also get assistance. Some of the things that are available in the membership include like the merch that we have available under the channel, different things like that. But it's never, ever, ever, ever required, right? It's never required. We love you absolutely and regardless of any contribution that you can make. We're just glad you're here. So, yeah. I know, right? Like, are you laughing at me or are you laughing at something else? Okay. All right. She's over there laughing at me because I'm, ridiculous. Make me a model, take care of them. If you're interested in helping moderate, please email team@lowincomerelief.com and let us know like what your YouTube handle is and things like that. We are now putting people in mod positions who we recognize from YouTube, just so that we can get help. Because I know Kaylee's doing a great job smashing them. I know Stephanie is helping get the trolls out of here too. But this is kind of an all hands on deck situation because it just is crazy lately.
Because most of the comments are like this now.
Oh my gosh, Kaylee. You didn't have to bring that up. Okay. Thank you. Guys, like seriously. That is entirely the reason why we do what we do, is because we just want to help. Like that's where my heart is. And we've got a pretty good team going now, and we're all here to help. And yes, Joan, subscribing to a channel is free. Hit the bell and subscribe. I do want to warn you though, even if you subscribe and even if you hit that notification bell, the way the YouTube algorithm works, they are not going to show you every single one of our videos. It drives me crazy because they just won't. I teach people how to do YouTube on the side. So the way it works is, I don't know if I'm allowed to go into that on a video. Actually, I've never thought about that. Maybe I shouldn't go there. But the point is, YouTube will not naturally show you all of the videos. So what I would encourage you to do as well, and this is also free, is go sign up for our email newsletter, because 3 times a week, Stephanie does a great job of sending out an email with basically everything we've done as far as articles on the website, videos on our channel, videos on our second channel, upcoming live streams, all sorts of stuff. Oh dear, my computer wants to restart itself. I don't want it to do that. Okay. But yeah, the best way to make sure you're not missing anything is to join the email list, because then we will also like send you emails and make sure you don't miss anything. Sorry, I'm getting a little long-winded. I've been at this for over an hour and my brain is starting to melt. Okay. Whew, the common sense approach says, did people receive benefits on the 1st regardless of their typical issue date in November? So no. Most of the people who received their benefits received them on Friday the 7th, when the court said send it and the USDA said they were preparing to send it, and before the Supreme Court said don't send it. That's kind of when the majority of people got theirs. Now, we did see some states, and maybe I should click back over here. We did see that some states, and I don't remember which ones they are, they're somewhere in this list, decided to do away with their staggered schedule and just send it all as soon as that order came in. There are some states where they send like some of it this day and some of it this day and some of it this day. And I wish I could just remember which one it is, but I don't remember. It's somewhere in here. I'm getting caught up trying to figure out the exact name of the state. I apologize. But they just sent it all on the 7th, but I don't know. And some people still haven't got them yet as well. All right, on your website about what states are releasing SNAP, why under Iowa does it say that the Guard will be called in to hand out food? So that's something that a lot of different states decided to do. And it's not like any bad thing. They're just saying the food banks are going to need more hands on deck than they usually have volunteers, because the volume of food they're going to need to move is going to be so much higher than what they usually need. So they were anticipating, a lot of states were spending millions of dollars more on food banks so that they could buy millions of dollars more in food. And the National Guard is an easy way to get more people working at the bank. So that is the reason that that was the case. Let's see. All right. I don't get the notifications. I'm so sorry, Time for Change. That is so frustrating. I know YouTube is just like notoriously, and I mean, if you think about it, most people subscribe and enable notifications on multiple channels. So I think they're trying not to like overwhelm people, but it is definitely annoying when those don't come in. The emails are a good way to circumvent that. And hopefully one of you lovely ladies can drop the link in for the email list. Do you have that on hand, sis? Never mind. She was a little distracted. Okay. Oh, this is good. Wanda says, Nicole, I went through the YouTube Academy and they told us that YouTube only notifies for the first 3 videos every day. Yep, that makes sense. And then there's other computations in there too that are complicated about like, yeah, I'm not sure what I am supposed to say and what I'm not supposed to say on YouTube. I'm gonna have to look into that because I don't want to get myself in any trouble. Okay. Let's see. We are nearing the 1.5 hour mark, so we are. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the link you want to go to join the email list. Also, if you download the cookbook, that signs you up for the email list as well too. So either one of those is a good way to go. Okay, I think it's probably about time for us to go because I can tell I'm getting rambly and tired, and that never ends well for anyone. You got anything you need to bring up?
They're shutting down comments. I tried to tell them. They're worried.
What do you mean shutting down comments?
People are worried that that's what you're going to do, or you're going to make them paid or something.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, Kayla's telling me that people are worried that they're going to have to pay to comment or we're shutting down comments. That's not happening. The question on the table is making like subscriber only comments maybe. Like we've done slow chat. Right now you may have noticed that I think it's, what is it, a 90-second interval right now for comments. We're trying to find ways to handle the comments on our live streams that are helpful to you so that you can still get your questions answered and also helpful to our team so that we don't have to spend.
I think it's because of that one comment saying that we should make it subscribers only.
Yeah, I know. Well, and there's a difference between subscribers and members. Subscribing is free. We're just looking at different options, but never will you ever have to pay to leave comments on our videos or, yeah. We love you guys. We want you to be able to get the help that you need. We are not going to discontinue the Q&As altogether. So just so you know, hopefully that answered the question. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, by the way. Okay. Let's see. Thank you, Amanda, for reminding everyone about the like button. And oh my goodness, Scott, thank you. I appreciate that you've been here for months. That's wonderful. I'm glad that you found our channel and that you're sticking around with us. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Alrighty. Ooh, okay. I'm not going to highlight this, but I do see someone in the comments advocating for a certain extension for YouTube. If you do that, first of all, I believe it's a violation of YouTube's terms of service, but that's a separate issue. But just be aware that any channels you watch are going to be harmed by that. So just be mindful of that. That hurts pretty bad when people do that because it essentially means that the team ends up working for free. So just take that with a grain of salt. Okay. All right, Nono is asking if we have a page on the website listing what food pantries in states do delivery. And for some reason, I can't seem to bring this one up. Can you?
I couldn't find it. I told him if we don't have one, I'll suggest
Okay, yeah, my clicker seems to be broken here. We are working on that. It is in the queue for the research team right now. So that is something we are actively working on getting done up for you guys. And of course, I mean, covering all 50 states is a lot. So if there's a certain area you would like us to focus on looking for those for you, if you want to email that to team@lowincomerelief.com and let us know, we can let the research team know where they should be digging so that we can get information that's going to be more relevant to you. Let's see. Oh my goodness, Dons, thank you for watching all of our videos. That is like the best way to support a channel. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Okay. Ouch. Thank you, Anxiety Sauce, for letting us know. We'll go update our list. That is what the USDA is telling states to do, is to distribute the 65%. So that is such a bummer, though. Hopefully we'll get new guidance on that. Hopefully the government will open up or something will change that can make that better for you.
Yours was kind of funny.
I don't mind, dads. I grew up with commercials that were longer than the show. Same, honestly, same. Yeah, and yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, I'm just going to highlight this. I'm not entirely sure what we're referring to here, but I don't take offense really much at all. I'm not an easily offended person, so don't worry if somebody thought they offended me. I'm not entirely sure, but okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Michelle. That's wonderful. Thank you for helping to share that and for watching our videos when new information comes out. We are definitely doing our best. And I appreciate that you do that. That really helps. Okay. Let's see. Yes. Just to remind you, Amanda's pointing out subscribing is free. It's always free to subscribe. Channel memberships are a totally separate thing. You can always subscribe at no cost. So we do appreciate that. Okay, I think we are going to have to get off of here for today, though, just because I'm kind of getting stuck in a rambling mood. Oh, yeah, so did we drop the email in the chat? Do we want to do that again really quick? If you're interested in becoming a mod, you just need to email team@lowincomerelief.com. Let us know what your YouTube name is so that we can recognize you, and then we'll look at that and we'll get back to you. So we always appreciate that. Let's see. Angie is saying, feeling left out. Am I going to get some answers? I didn't see your questions, but if you ask them again, we can try to bring those up really quick. Oh my goodness, phone call, go away. Not you, my phone. My phone was ringing and I was telling them to go away. I talk to my devices, so yeah. You know what? I actually agree with this, Erica. Even if the government reopens, I would still like to see the Supreme Court make a ruling regarding Section 32 funds and funding in general, because then we'll know the next time this comes up or goes around what's supposed to go down. So a Supreme Court ruling, it would still be beneficial, I think, even if something like that happens. Let's see. All right. I know I said I was going to get off of here, but now I'm getting more questions I'm going to answer really quick. I don't like leaving any of you unanswered. So Gypsy says, if you spent the food stamps and the government people tell you to undo them, how do you undo them? So you don't undo them. They're telling the states to take that money back if it's still available. If it's not still available, they can't take it back. If they did say that if they don't take it back, then there's an overpayment, and then the states would have to recoup the overpayments and things. But in the past, we've seen things where you get an overpayment thing, you can negotiate the repayment, and then they just deduct like 10% out of your future benefits till that's paid back. I don't think that's going to be an issue here, because I think that when the government reopens, SNAP is going to be fully funded, and it's not going to end up having been an overpayment. I think we're just in like this weird gray area limbo right now that's making it complicated. But I don't think that that's something that people really need to worry about. But then again, this is my opinion, right? I don't work for the government or anything like that. Not that the people who work for the government can agree on anything right now either. But sorry, I shouldn't have said that last bit. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. My sarcasm is coming out, and that's never a good thing.
I think I accidentally put him on timeout because there was a troll right above him.
Oh, it sounds like you may have accidentally been hit with a timeout reel, and I'm sorry about that if that happened to you. The buttons are really close together, and Kaylee thinks she may have caught your comment by mistake, so I do apologize if that happened. She wants you to know it's not your fault. She was going for somebody who had commented either right before or after you, and she slipped up, so I do apologize for that confusion. Yeah, let's see. What? Okay, that's concerning. Here is a direct link instead of the short link that we usually use. Let's see, here's this. Did you pull the long one?
Yeah.
And it was giving an error?
I think that's the one that Stephanie sent that was giving the error.
Okay. If you're getting an error opening up one of our links, if you can take a screenshot and email it to us, then we can follow that and see what's going on there. Let's see, Google just sent out a notification that the shutdown is over, someone is saying, but I'm not finding that confirmation over here.
If you subscribe to a website that isn't accurate, it would say that.
What was that? Oh, yes, that's true. If you were subscribed to the wrong site, then they might have said that. Yeah, the last update I'm seeing is that they are voting to begin the debate on a deal to end the shutdown and that it's not finalized yet. So I'll continue following that. Let's see. Alrighty, guys. I think I'm gonna have to go for now. I will continue to follow that situation though, and we will be back tomorrow with more updates and more things that hopefully will be able to help you out. As always, I hope you guys are doing okay. We worry about you all the time. If there's something specific you'd like us to look into, please don't hesitate to let us know. Our research team does have kind of a big list right now that they're working on, but we are always happy to get more on there. As I sign off from the chat here and get things closed up on my end, Kaylee is going to stay in the chat for as long as she possibly can. It doesn't kick her out for several minutes, and so she'll continue answering questions and trying to help you guys out. But I am going to go for a little bit. My studio lights give me headaches for some reason, but I appreciate you being with us. I appreciate just watching our videos, participating in the chat. I love talking to you guys. And just know that you're in our thoughts, you're in our prayers, and we'll be back tomorrow. And